Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, the election is essentially over, but not for election officials. In the coming days, there's more ballot counting to be done as absentee ballot count begins in both districts. And some candidates' fates could change with these new few hundred votes. News 2's April Knight has more.
The VI general election is over, but the work is not yet done for election officials. In fact, the ballots have not all been counted yet. The election system did release summary reports after 12 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, but there's virtually no change from the election night results. But there are at least a couple of candidates that are only some votes away from holding a senatorial seat, and that's why the absentee ballot count is most important.
Absentee ballots could be as much as 300, 400, 500, and that makes a big difference. That can make a big difference in the election.
Candidate Janelle Sarow, for instance, is only 39 points behind Dwayne DeGraff on St. Thomas. Kenneth Gittens on St. Croix is only 70 votes behind Neville James, who holds the 7th seat on St. Croix. In addition, the absentee ballot count on St. Thomas has the potential to get delayed. There are only 2 board members who can take the necessary steps to remake that ballot.
They have made a check mark next to the person that they're voting for, or they may have made an X outside of the bubble and the machine would not read it. Thus we'd have to look at it and stamp duplicate on one and duplicate it on the other. Duplicated would be the spoiled ballot, and the duplicate would be the one that would be remade and put into the machine. It happens only with absentee ballots.
The absentee ballot count begins 6 p.m. today, Thursday. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Ballot count continues for a few days. We will keep you updated on any changes in the final tally. Governor Kenneth Mapp extended congratulations to the winners of the 2016 VI elections, as well as to all those that prevailed in the national elections. In statements made earlier this year, Governor Mapp indicated that he was encouraged by the accomplishments the administration has been able to make in the territory, due in great part to the common ground established with the 31st legislative body. The governor said he looked forward to a productive working relationship with the newly elected 32nd legislature of the VI. Meanwhile, the governor approved the bill, now Act number 7951, which authorizes the issuance of bonds, notes, or other evidences of indebtedness, the 2016 series bonds of the government of the VI and or the Virgin Islands Public Finance Authority for working capital, including the granting of statutory liens on all matching fund revenues and gross receipt tax revenues. This measure now allows the government of the VI to maintain pace with the schedule for financing of the critically needed working capital to avoid any interruption in the delivery of essential public services, including meeting payroll, paying vendors, and providing tax refunds, said the governor. The act also provides working capital for the central government for fiscal years 2017 and 18, as well as the local hospitals and for the Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority. Turning our attention to crime reports, on Tuesday, November 8th, units were dispatched to the content area relative to 2 vehicles that were on fire. Officers made contact with the 2 vehicles that were fully consumed in flames. Here's more from VIPD.
Units from the hotel company fire station were present on the scene, along with the fire marshal and fire investigators. The fire was extinguished and deemed arson. During the investigation, video surveillance footage was obtained, which resulted in the arrest of 42-year-old Delano Hodge Sr. for second-degree arson. No bail was set for Hodge, and he was turned over to the Bureau of Corrections pending his advice of rights hearing on November 10, 2016.
Virgin Islands Port Authority has received several reports from the public regarding false advertisements posted on the Craigslist website. The ads listed vehicles for sale and states that the VI Port Authority will ship these vehicles to the individuals once money has been received by the seller. And this came from VIPA's Executive Director Carlton Dow. He says these advertisements are scams. The VI Port Authority is not a shipping company, nor are they in the business of shipping vehicles or any other items. The public is advised not to send any money to persons selling items that lists the VI Port Authority as its shipping company. If you suspect scam, you should call the VI Attorney General's Investigations Office. Well, here's a look at this week's Crime Stoppers report. On May 8, 2005, Winston Reds Francis, 67, an estate profit businessman, was shot by two men as they robbed him of a bag of money. That shooting took place outside the Sunny Isles Scotiabank on St. Croix. Winston had just exited the bank when the attack occurred. The suspects fled the scene in a white sedan, which was later found abandoned between Strawberry Ridge and Bon Esperance. Winston was taken to the Wanaflui Hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery for his wounds, but later died. Please contact Crime Stoppers USVI's hotline at 1-800-222-TIPS or submit a web tip at www.crimestoppersvi.org. President-elect Donald Trump and his VP Mike Pence arrived in Washington this morning for their first meetings with the men they'll replace in January. Trump, who's lambasted President Obama for years, stuck to the conciliatory tone he's been using since his win on Tuesday. Diane Gallagher has more from the White House.
President Barack Obama.
We now are going to want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
Welcoming President-elect Donald Trump.
I have great respect. The meeting lasted for almost an hour and a half. And it could have, as far as I'm concerned, it could have gone on for a lot longer.
The closed-door, one-on-one White House meeting is a key step in starting the smooth transition between administrations.
I very much look forward to dealing with the president in the future, including counsel.
It is important for all of us, regardless of party and regardless of political preferences, to now come together, work together to deal with the many challenges that we face.
So while the two sometimes bitter enemies, who had actually never met until today, have spent years bashing one another.
I mean, he finally gave the birth certificate. He should have done it a long time ago.
So he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?
These moments mark a public effort to put up a united front.
Thank you, sir.
As Trump transitions from running for office to running the office, he met with his party's leaders, who control both the House and Senate. Behind the scenes, his team is reviewing thousands of resumes, attempting to put together the next administration. In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
Protesters took to the streets Wednesday in at least 10 cities to march and today against President-elect Donald Trump, and numerous college students and faculty leaders took to social media to announce support groups and even postponed exams. Protests were underway in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Boston, Washington, D.C., Portland, St. Paul, Minnesota, and several other cities. An estimated 2,000 protesters shouted angrily in downtown Seattle, expressing their frustration at the Trump victory over Democrat and former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, who won 228 electoral votes to Trump's 279. Police in riot gear struggled to hold back scores of protesters in some of the cities as protesters chanted, "Not my president" and "No racist USA." The protests were mostly peaceful. Keeping our eye on the economy, the stock market rally continues for a second day after Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton, a reaction few expected. The Dow opened at a new all-time high, and the S&P 500 was inches away from a new record. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P all posted gains of about 1% in the first few minutes of trading. He's seen as advocating for less regulations, not more, of some industries. In fact, financial services share, along with drug stocks, all posted big gains for their second session in a row. Here's a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. The Dow is up there, 218, NASDAQ down 42, S&P 500 up 4. Coming up on NEWS2, according to the Department of Health, we talk about how we're doing. How are the Zika numbers? Are they going down? We hear from the Department of Health. Also, November has been proclaimed Virgin Islands Recycles Month in line with the proclamation made by Governor Mapp. The Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority is promoting its programs and initiatives to encourage recycling in the territory. Tune in for our VI Recycle segment. Welcome back. Well, on Friday, Veterans Day, it's a holiday for many. Schools, banks, post offices, all government offices closed. The innovative business offices, St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix will be closed. Innovative wireless locations at Estate Diamond and Plaza Extra West on St. Croix and Tutu Park Mall on St. Thomas will also be closed. Normal business hours at each location will resume on Saturday, November 12th. For Veterans Day, it's originally called Armistice Day. It was first declared a holiday in 1938 to commemorate the end of World War I, which happened at 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month in the year 1918. And since then, the holiday honored the veterans of the First World War and has always been celebrated on November 11th. In 1954, after the U.S. had been involved in two other wars, World War II and the Korean War, the holiday was renamed Veterans Day in honor of the veterans of all wars. Now, the parades locally will be held on November 11th, 9 a.m. in Christian Stead, St. Croix, starting at the Basin Triangle down King Street and the reviewing stand, which will be at Government House. The official ceremony will take place at the Christian Stead Bandstand immediately after. On St. Thomas, the parade will start at Cancrine Junior High School and proceed down Veterans Drive, and the parade will make a left turn at the main fire station and proceed to Noragata towards the reviewing stand. The official ceremony will be held at Franklin D. Roosevelt Veterans Park immediately after. Virgin Islands Department of Education Division of Cultural Education, they're holding a Grand Veterans Day concert from 4 p.m. to 11 at the Vern Richards Memorial Park in Frederiksted to honor all U.S. veterans living in the territory. The Sweet Pepper Quilbe Band and Chantal Harrigan and Company will provide entertainment. On St. John, the Veterans Day Parade was held last Sunday, and there was a movie night on Monday, healthy vet walk on Tuesday, school visits to all St. John schools on Wednesday, and movie night in Coral Bay this evening. Now on Friday, from 10 to 4 p.m., there is a fun day in Coral Bay. Virgin Islands Police Department, they're reminding the public of parking restrictions being enforced on Friday, November 11th during the Veterans Day Parade and Ceremony. King Street on St. Croix will be closed from 5 a.m. until 11 a.m. On St. Thomas, VIPD Traffic Unit will be routing ongoing traffic accordingly. Well, there are now 639 confirmed Zika cases in the territory, according to the Department of Health, and a large majority is still on St. Thomas. That's an increase of 49 cases compared to last week, and some 261 lab results are still pending from the CDC. On St. Thomas, 503 confirmed cases. On St. Croix, 100 people are confirmed to have Zika, while on St. John, it's 36 people. For information on Zika prevention and the latest statistics, you can go to www.doh.vi.gov. Do you want to meet the team, hear updates, and speak one-on-one? Well, the management of the Juan F. Louis Hospital and Medical Center, they would like to invite the public to a town hall meeting. The community will get the opportunity to meet the Juan F. Louis executive team, hear updates about improvements to the St. Croix Hospital, and receive answers to any concerns held regarding the Juan F. Louis. It's going to be at the Betty and Martha Benjamin Foundation Conference Center Room at the Virgin Islands Cardiac Center, Tuesday, November 15th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Carnival Vista made its inaugural call on Thursday at the Waiko Dock on St. Thomas. Carnival's biggest ship holds about 4,000 passengers. A welcome ceremony was held on board where plaques, gifts, the VI flag, and even Crucian rum was handed over to the captain just to say welcome to the VI and then a brief tour. Presenting were Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter, VI Port Authority's Executive Director Carlton Dow with Kelvin Industrious, Joseph B. Buschelta, Waiko's CEO, and Waiko's Director of Property, Anthony Otley, Joyce Griffin-Dorr, the Assistant Commissioner of the VI Department of Tourism, and Angela Payne. U.S. Coast Guard's Lieutenant Peter Daniel, Rita Maya of Virgin Port Services were all in attendance. Here's more from the captain.
I'm very proud to be today here in St. Thomas. I love St. Thomas as port, and since my starting with the Carnival Cruise Line, I'm coming in St. Thomas, so I love the port. It's very safe places. As a technical wise for us, it's a safe port where to berth. And of course, it's an honor for me to be the captain of Carnival Vista, that is the biggest and newest ships of Carnival. So we have many different lounges and restaurants, and it's a very beautiful ship.
Well, speaking of Waiko, the last jazz concert on the docks for 2016 is coming up. The West Indian Company has lined up a real Crucian jazz experience. Headlining on stage will be Broncodamn, featuring a real Crucian icon, none other than Dr. Olaf Bronco Hendricks, who will perform on stage from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Tuesday, November 15th. He is well known as a trained psychiatrist, but he is the co-founder of the Crucian Cultural Institute, the Hillsiders Association, and the Crucian Rican Alawi organization. The opening star act will be the CAHS Jazz Ensemble, directed by Mr. Francis Carwood. Time for our VI Recycles Month feature. The Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority continues its recognition of VI Recycles Month, which is November, as proclaimed by Governor Mapp. On Thursday, we spoke to a waste management contractor that's making it a mission to reduce the waste streaming into landfills, and they're doing it through composting. NEWS2's April Knight has that story.
Sanitas Partners LLC is taking an active role in the Virgin Islands waste minimization efforts.
We're pleased the governor has designated the month VI Recycles Month, and we want to be a very big kind of component of all of that.
Composting is one of the things pushed by the VI Waste Management Authority. In fact, one of the 3 waste minimization bills that's still in committee at the Senate deals with source separation and is directly linked to composting. In November last year, Sanitas began the composting project made conducive by a large tract of land and state-of-the-art equipment. Their method significantly cuts the composting time into a matter of a few months.
One of the largest things that we're very happy and proud about that we've been able to do is we're pulling out a huge amount of green waste. Bush, it's lawn trimmings, it's grass cuttings, or landscape trimmings, byproducts from agricultural processes, anything that's carbon-based, organic-based. We're now pulling all that material out. We're grinding it up with a very large 1,000 horsepower shredder we have as part of the project, and we're producing mulch, compost, and wood chips that can be beneficially reused in the territory. We're very lucky to have the very large piece of equipment we have, a 1,000 horsepower shredder, and we find if we're able to really beat up the material and chew up and grind the material, that really expedites the whole decomposition process.
For Sanitas, the composting project is a win-win situation for everyone. It's a viable business for them, it diverts a chunk of waste from VI landfills, and the final product is something the local community can use.
Just in the scale of things, I mean, we're diverting 25 to 35% of the garbage that was historically just going in the landfill. It's a really big number. It's a big chunk of the garbage on St. Croix that we're able to reuse in a really beneficial way.
Reporting for NEWS2, I'm April Knight.
And tonight, Waste Management is giving information on composting at the Taste of Two Islands. And on Saturday, they'll be at the Reef Fest in Coral World from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll have more on the Reef Fest on tomorrow's newscast. Over the weekend, the Waste Management held Compost Workshop, speaking of which, on St. Croix and on St. John in partnership with the UVI Cooperative Extension Services and Gift Hill School. Workshop participants learned about composting, nature's way of recycling, and also entered a drawing to win a composter. Catherine Prince of St. Croix and Peter Alter of St. John, they were winners of the composters provided by the Waste Management Authority. On St. Thomas, compost demonstrations will be held again at the St. Thomas St. John Agriculture and Food Fair. That's set for November 19th, and other places for the rest of the month. Meanwhile, VI Waste Management Authority, they're advising residents of Hospital Ground and on St. Thomas that effective Wednesday, November 16th, the authority will relocate the 6-yard bin located near the Jacob Fred Mechanic Yard. That bin will be relocated a few yards away next to the existing bins near the Winston Ramos Center. So instead of 2 bins, there will be a total of 3 6-yard bins at the Ramos Center site. The relocation represents a consolidation that provides for easier service, they say, access for the collection truck, and a better use of resources. Be sure to stick around. Your NEWS2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
Well, the front that has has been bringing us, some of the showery activity has really begun to fall apart. In fact, as we take a look at the satellite, we're just seeing some of the remnants of it sitting around parts of the Central Caribbean. So we'll continue to see maybe a spotty shower throughout tonight and also into tomorrow as well. Around St. John, temperatures will continue to be in the mid to upper 80s. Shower 2 will continue out towards St. Thomas as well as down into St. Croix. So definitely continuing to be wet. Now out on the waters, these swells on the Atlantic side from an area of low pressure shifting off into the northeast in the Atlantic, causing some heavier swells. Right now the waves 3 to 5 feet, but the swells reaching up to 6 or 7. So that's where we're getting that small craft advisory, winds about 10 knots out of the east. Now as we head on the Caribbean side, also small craft advisory because of the swells, just not as high, 3 to 5 feet, and we have those winds slightly less, about 5 to 10 knots. Here's a look at your extended outlook as we head towards the weekend. For your Friday, that front begins to dry out and really begin to break apart. So we'll be seeing more pieces of the sunshine out there. But as we head towards Saturday, maybe a shower towards the morning hours. But it's Saturday night when a second front ushers off of the southeast coast of the U.S. and makes its way towards us for your Saturday evening. That's when we'll be seeing a more uptick in moisture for Saturday and into Sunday as well. Looking to be quite dreary as well as getting more shower activity. But as we head towards the beginning of your work week, it's going to dry back out. Well, you can't rule out those chances of showers. However, it's definitely going to not be as strong as it was for Saturday night in through Sunday night. Back to you, Sandy.
Thank you for that. A few showers here and there, not too bad. According to Daniel Brown's picture there of the Ricardo Richards Elementary School, some smooth sailing there and nice blue skies and sunshine as we get closer to the weekend. Daniel, thank you for that. Send us your NEWS2 weather picture to the address on the screen right there. Be sure to include your name, age, school, and brief description, and then tune in every night. You never know when your picture is going to run. That's all for this edition. We'd like to thank you for joining us. I'm Sandra Mensing. We'll see you next time.